What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I am here with the Dean of Fantasy Football and the Fantasy Football Guru, Danny Carpenter. Today, we are talking about 5 must-have receivers heading into the fantasy football season. We're going to start with you, Dean, and we're going to start in Los Angeles. This is my man crush, Ladd McConkey. Talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, Lavenkoki has become kind of the reliable ones very quickly. He's headed into his second year with a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. The Chargers offense that has seen things click with Harbaugh. Yeah, man. You talking about PPR? He's going to be a demon here. He's kind of little shades of like Amon-Ra St. Brown, where he's going to rely on a lot of catches during the game, but he has such a great skill set that he's going to be catching balls in the open field and getting those extra ones. I'm really excited to see what year 2 holds for him with Herbert, and really the sky's potential for Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, and I posted a tweet today talking about McConkey. I mean, his performances after week 11 through the wild card game suggested that this guy can be the overall wide receiver one. He didn't have a performance below 14 points over that stretch, and we saw a 38-point explosion as well during that stretch. I mean, McConkey just has it. Like, this guy is an absolute baller on the field. We saw Georgia struggle to stay on the field, and, we didn't see that in his first year in the NFL, which was nice. The Chargers brought in nobody. I mean, they brought in Trey Harris, Mike Williams. They brought in nobody to compete with Ladd McConkey as that team's number one. This team is going to run the ball better. They're going to be more efficient in the passing game. And they realized towards the end of the last year, they have a wide receiver one in Ladd McConkey, who is going to be an absolute baller. Danny, talk about him a little bit.
Another thing about it, too, I mean, he averaged 18.7 from week 11 on.
Yeah.
He only scored 3 touchdowns. Adding those running backs this year is only going to help the offense open up a little bit more, some play action and stuff, and he can get behind the linebackers and open up the field a lot better, too.
Yep. 100%. And he's in a division where you're going to have to score some points in order to win some games. So definitely going to look out for Ladd McConkey, and he is probably my favorite pick in the beginning of the second round here. Listen, I got a first-round grade on him still, but beginning of second round's fair for Ladd. Yes. Let's talk about another guy in the AFC West, Xavier Worthy. Now, Worthy's a player who broke out last year. Danny, talk about him a little bit.
From week 12 to 17, he's saw 6 or more targets in every game. And in the last 3 games, he averaged 21 points when they featured him a little bit more. He ranked actually 10th in red zone targets last year, too. And Rashid Rice still being hampered with the knee injury and some of the legal issues he's got going on. Worthy's probably going to be relied on a lot early in the season.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he steps in clearly as this team's, best receiver outside of Rashid Rice. And we don't know what Rice's outlook looks like. I absolutely love Rashid Rice when he's on the field, but who knows? He misses 6 to 8 games this year. Xavier Worthy is going to cash in on a ton of value for the Chiefs, and it feels like Worthy is being priced at, worst case scenario for him this year. And I think even with Rice on the field, Worthy can be extremely viable. Danny, you mentioned this guy's red zone volume. One thing you didn't mention too is he had 7 touches in the red zone as well as a rusher. Andy Reid wants to get this guy the ball in space and find a way to get him in the red zone because he is an explosive playmaker with the ball in his hands. And it really felt like towards the end of the year, he finally understood what this offense wanted him to do, and he excelled in it. And it really has encouraging signs heading into the 2025 season. Dean, let's talk about Ricky Pearsall, who just suffered an injury in OTAs. Does it hurt his outlook a little bit, or are you still extremely high on this player heading into 2025?
Yeah, I'm super high on Pearsall. Luckily it's pretty early in OTA, so it's all right. Let's see, let's rest it. Let's take care of it. It's fine. But with Pearsall, it's going to be about the opportunity that he has in front of him. Debo is out. We don't know when Ayuk's going to come back. And then there's Juwan Jennings. Pearsall, I think, can be kind of like a gadget player like they used with Debo Samuel, maybe like a little bit less. But there's going to be opportunity for him in the pass catching, middle of the field, from the slot. Like, he's going to see a lot of volume. And, say what you want about Brock Purdy, but the dude produces fantasy receivers, man. So he's going to give him the ball. Pearsall has the opportunity right in front of him on a team that really needs to come all the way back, especially from a disappointing last year. And Pearsall is going to be a focal point in that offense, man.
100%. And I think the biggest part about it is the opportunity in front of Pearsall. When Ayuk is out for how long he is, he automatically steps in as this team's, slot wide receiver. able to move around. Jawan Jennings is more that X-type receiver for this 49ers team. And I think that when Ayuk returns, it's not like Pearsall has competition with Ayuk because Ayuk's not necessarily a slot receiver as well. And I think it's very interesting to see how those targets are distributed when those guys come back. We've seen the 49ers have 3 viable wide receivers at once last season with George Kittle, with Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, it's not going to be consistent on a week-to-week basis, but the offense is so good that you have to buy into the fact that Ricky Pearsall could be in for some big weeks, and where he's currently priced, it feels like an absolute steal for him right now. Danny, talk about Pearsall a little bit.
He's tall, he's lean, he's fast, 42-inch vertical. What more don't you like about him? I mean, he can do a little bit of everything for you. He can play slot and go outside. He can go jump balls, and he can do some gadget stuff. So he's a jack of all trades for him. That's going to fit right in why they got rid of Debo.
Yeah, 100%. Danny, I'm going to bounce back to you about Jakobi Meyers. Why is this a guy that we have to must draft?
He finally has a quarterback. Well, just the fact that he's going to be the main guy in that offense. They didn't get anybody other receivers. I mean, they drafted Jeudy to take care of the running game. They have Bowers there. Bowers may take a little step back just because teams will be focusing on him, so maybe they'll open up more stuff for Myers. And with Jeudy, too, they can't concentrate just on the passing game. They got to worry about the running game this year for the Raiders.
100%. And I think the most fascinating part about Jakobi Meyers is the production towards the end of the season, how consistent this guy was as a flex option for a lot of teams that drafted him hoping for the best. And what happened was the best. Like, this guy was a consistent option in our lineup. And Jakobi Meyers has only gotten better throughout his NFL career. Steadily working. Finally got that 1,000-yard season last year. His production suggests that he's not going anywhere. And, he's coming into a contract year. I think he's going to be in for another nice season. Outside of Brock Bowers, we know that, Geno Smith is going to find a way to get his receivers the ball in the past. Pete Carroll's teams have typically not targeted their tight end a ton. Why can't Jakobi Meyers increase his volume a little bit more, potentially score more touchdowns with a competent running back there now? It looks very good for Jakobi Meyers this year. Dean, talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, people forget he finished right in the top 20 wide receivers of fantasy, and listen, that's starting in your lineups, like you said, flex option. Now you get Geno Smith, who is a gunslinger, man, and he's going to throw that thing. I know they drafted Jeudy, and you think maybe the offense will revolve around that, but the reliability of Geno's arm, he's got to throw down the field to someone, and that somebody is Jakobi Meyers. So definitely be on the lookout. His ADP doesn't do justice to him, and I think he's definitely going to surpass it this year.
Well, the last player we'll talk about here is in a similar situation to Jakobi Meyers last year. It's Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy had a career year last year for the Cleveland Browns, and it feels like he's almost flying under the radar right now with the Browns quarterback situation. We have no clue what they're going to do there, but the Browns quarterback situation was horrible last year, the last time I checked. Even when Jameis Winston wasn't the starting quarterback, we saw Jerry Jeudy be this team's wide receiver 1 after the Amari Cooper trade on a consistent basis, and he had some massive breakout weeks. Joe Flacco has proven to be a very great quarterback for wide receivers in fantasy football, and he is currently taking the first team reps for the Browns. I don't know what Gabriel and Shadur Sanders would look like, but both those guys have proven to feed their number 1 wide receivers in college. And then you got Kenny Pickett. I don't trust him at all if he's a starting quarterback, but we'll see what happens if he is. But to where Jeudy is priced right now, it feels like an absolute steal just based on his production last season. He won a ton of teams' leagues that I think a lot of people feel like, man, this guy feels a little bit slept on right now on his current ADP. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, listen, he finished as wide receiver 16. Like, no one saw that coming. Years we've been waiting for Jerry Jeudy to break out. We were hoping, praying, and he did with like nobody in the backfield. I mean, nobody under center. Listen, it's not much to say, but this QB room has improved. It's sad to say, but it has. And Jerry Jeudy is going to be the number 1 target on this team. And unfortunately, the Browns are not good at all, but they got to score points. And I think it's going to come from Jerry Jeudy again. He's going to be a guy that I think is going to start hitting that consistency. Now, I don't think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver because there's so much talent in this league, but he's going to be a guy that is going to be playing week in and week out on your roster if you grab him at his ADP.
Yeah, and another thing is they don't have a great defense consistently right now. And I think that's going to provide him a lot of opportunities in the passing game because the Browns are going to be losing. Danny, what do you think about that?
He's also in the AFC North. You got to play against the Bengals twice, got to play against the Ravens twice. You got to score points to beat those teams. The Bengals don't have any defense either, so those games could be shootouts, but somebody's got to catch the ball in that offense, and Jeudy's probably the first guy that Flacco's going to look for, aside maybe the Joker if he's healthy.
100%, 100%. But hey, those are our first. I did twice now, 2 straight videos. I can't talk, but those are our must draft receivers here in fantasy football. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for more Blitz fantasy football content and drop a comment down below who your must draft receiver is. We will catch you guys next time.